Hi friends, I want to talk to you about big books. Big books, like over 400 pages. I try to not read too many, but in doing this video and preparing for this video, I realized that I actually have a lot of big books on my TBR. My physical TBR has a lot of the big ones on there. So this is basically in preparation for, which has already started, but I'm behind the times on some stuff. Reading stuff is one of them. It is all in preparation for Big Book Summer, which is a reading challenge hosted for over 10 years, I think 13 maybe, by Sue Jackson, and I'll link her below. This year, Sue has also welcomed Melinda from a Web of Stories to join her in this reading challenge as a host. I did this last year. I think might have been my first year. Well, yeah, because last year was the first year that I had my channel. I can't remember, but I think I might have read one big book last summer in the challenge, and yeah, I don't really remember. But what I want to do is give you some suggestions of big books that I've really enjoyed, and then some that I might read. I am doing Joy Reading June, so mood reading. I'm also, because why not? I also joined the Amazing Readathon, which is hosted by Bree at Four Paws in a Book. And I'm on the Pathfinders, which is mood reading, which sticks in line with joy reading. I'm just using the prompts that we get to choose books. So there's that as well, which I just decided yesterday. And I've already shared my TBR. Those books will probably be books that I choose as well. Big Book Summer. Let's talk about the challenge. So it goes from started Memorial Day weekend and it goes to Labor Day weekend. So that's a great amount of time to read big books. I've already mentioned a few that I have on my TBR for one reason or another, and they're over 400 pages, so they would count for this. The first one is a buddy read that I'm in the middle of, and that is The Queen of Sugar Hill by Rashonda Tate. And this is a historical fiction about Hattie McDaniel, who is the actress who played Mammy in Gone with the Wind, and also the first Black actor to win an Academy Award. And so far, I'm a little behind on the buddy read. So far, it is reading a little bit more like a history book than I'd prefer, but I'm hoping that it'll pick up because it did need to go into some detail in the beginning to kind of set the scene. This book is 410 pages if I don't count the acknowledgments, and the author did it's an author's note and a historical note at the back. So there's that one that I know I will definitely get done. I had also mentioned that I was picking some books off my 12 and 25 list because I am way behind. Way behind. The first is The Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. This is supposed to be funny, and it's set in New Orleans, which I love New Orleans, and it is 405 pages and very big margins. So I've heard that the audiobook is kind of the way to go on this, so I will try that if I can find it. And then I also have on my 12 and 25 Crime and Punishment. I'm gonna try this. This is a classic I haven't read, but I've always wanted to read, and I bought this many, many years ago. Yeah, and just haven't gotten to it yet. I mean, the whole Russian literature thing with the names and sometimes the complex sentence structure of a classic kind of makes me a little apprehensive, but we'll see. I do have a Russian classic to recommend to you in Big Book for Big Book Summer. So we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, so this is about a guy who kills someone and kind of the crime and the punishment part of his life. From what I know, I haven't gotten too far into the synopsis. This is 449 pages, so this would definitely count. I did want to read some nonfiction, but nonfiction that's over 400 pages. Really, Michele? Do we want to go there? So I pulled two off my list, or off my shelves, and one of them I started years ago, and I was enjoying it. I just got distracted, as I tend to do. This is Where Peachtree Meets Sweet Auburn, a saga of race and family by Gary Pomerantz. He is an investigative journalist, and this is about the white and black families that settled in Atlanta. And I am very interested in Atlanta history. I've lived here most of my life, and I'm real curious. Like I grew up in the suburbs, and then with graduate school and my working life, I moved to the city, and I'm kind of curious about it. This is the start for me. This is kind of the start for me. So I want to then read more history, and there's been some more recent ones that have come out. This one is, let's see. Ooh, there's a lot of notes. This is 554 pages. So I would really like to get to this. However, we'll just put that to the side for a second. I've also had this chunker on my shelf for a really long time. This is Far from the Tree, Parents, Children, and the Search for Identity by Andrew Solomon. This one is, all right, so this is 702 pages. And then this section is the notes and acknowledgments, bibliography, all that stuff. This is basically about people with disabilities and their families and the search for identity in this world we live in. So I say that I may not get to this one because what I ended up doing is I needed an audiobook for a vlog that I'm doing, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went ahead and got back on my Libro FM subscription membership and decided to get this one as one of my credits. So this audiobook as a credit because I couldn't find it anywhere. And then the book I needed for the vlog was on sale on Libro FM. So I just got that one. Total side note. But anyway, so I have the audiobook for Far from the Tree. So I'm pretty sure this is one that I'm going to get to. Is she though? We'll see. We'll see. Another book that is on my 12 and 25 list that my copy is actually 436 pages is The Street by Anne Petrie. I wanted to read this back in February and I never got to it. So I'm going to put it on the pile and it needs to be read. The 12 and 25 list, they really need to be read in 2025. So I'm pretty sure I can get the audiobook for this, but I also have my audiobooks are now backing up a bit. I just got a notification from my library that one of my NetGalley books was ready, and that book was bigger than I knew it to be. This book is let's see, 475 pages, and that is The Pretenders by Joe Harkin. This just came out. So this is a sweeping historical novel in the vein of Hilary Mantel and Maggie O'Farrell, who I love. Maggie O'Farrell. Hilary Mantel, I've read some of her nonfiction. I haven't read her fiction yet, but I do have it. The Pretender tells the darkly humorous story of Lambert Simnel, who was believed to be the true heir to the throne occupied by Henry VII. Raised in obscurity as a peasant boy to protect his safety, and briefly crowned at the age of 13 as King Edward VI, last of the Palchanet kings. I'm probably saying that wrong. So I had this on NetGalley, did not get to it. It just came out. But we all know I'm behind on my NetGalley. So I picked it up at the library and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't realize it was that large. This one is, what did I say it was? 475 pages. So this one, yeah, not sure I'm going to get to this, but I did put a hold on it on Libby for the audiobook. Audiobooks, like I just said, are the way I'm going lately is audiobooks. However, my audiobooks are getting backed up. So this has several months wait. Not sure this is going to happen for this summer. One book that I think will hopefully happen is one that I am going to buddy read in July with Melinda at a Web of Stories and one of her friends. And that is the third in the Six Tudor Queen series. This is Jane Seymour, The Haunted Queen by Alison Weir. I have to share with you two of my recommendations are the first two books. And the reason we're waiting until July is because Melinda is not to the third book yet, but this is where I am. And I think Melinda's on Anne Boleyn, maybe. I have read the first two. The first is Catherine of Aragon, the True Queen, and then we had Anne Boleyn, the King's Obsession. I read those in the last couple of years and listened to the audio, and they were really great. So, like I said, I'm going to be reading Jane Seymour's The Haunted Queen in July with Melinda. So, the big books that could happen. They could happen. I have many more. But I also wanted to suggest some big books that I've enjoyed that you may as well. This is an author that I would like to read more from, and I have not. And her books are just quirky, funny, a little, they have some language in it, and sometimes a little spiciness. But I really enjoy her characters and her writing, and that is, of course, Marian Keyes. I've read Rachel's Holiday, and this is the mass market paperback, and it is 625 pages. This was really good. I just flew through it, honestly. The rest are a little bit heavier in topic. And so we have Pachinko by Minjin Lee. I really, really liked this book. And it's about a family, a Korean family, who is dealing with family saga in the middle of the occupation by Japan, and just kind of following several generations through their lives and how it's impacted by the Japanese occupation. So this one is 485 pages. Then we have an author that I don't think, well, some of her contemporary books seem to be shorter, but yeah, talking about Kristen Hanna. I have read, I think, 4 of her books, 3 or 4 of her books, and my favorite is still The Great Alone. Looks at a family, a mom, a dad, and a daughter who go and live in the wild in Alaska and deal with, the father is a vet, from the Vietnam War, and he is dealing with a lot of PTSD, and how he deals with it is grueling, and it's violent. It can be violent at times in this book, but it is so moving. And I don't cry in books, but I almost cried at this one. So highly recommend. And I do have other Kristen Hanna on my shelves to read. This one's over 500 pages. I know I have The Nightingale on my shelves to read, and that is over 500 or 400 pages. I know. So Russian classic that I enjoyed is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Now, I say I enjoyed this. This is about 830 pages. I probably enjoyed maybe 500 pages of it because, let's be honest, Tolstoy goes off on some tangents that we just don't need. But he does, and so it is 830 pages. I would suggest, when he gets into the political parts, if you're not interested, just skim. There's really, that, I feel like that is sufficient. So Anna Karenina has beauty, social position, wealth, a husband, and an adored son, but her existence seems empty. And so she ends up meeting a count that she falls in love with, and it tells that story. And then the last one I wanted to share with you is a book that I love the cover. I love the cover. And I tried to do an in-person book club. And this was one of the books that they had chosen and is totally out of my comfort zone. And I did not think that I was going to like it, but I went ahead and got it. It was a book club through a local indie bookstore, and it ended up not continuing after 2 or 3 books. But that is Ink, Blood. Let me try that again. Ink, Blood, Sister, Scribe by Emma Torres. This is about 2 sisters and 2 estranged sisters guarding the family's library of magical books. So right there, magical is not usually a Michele buzzword, but I ended up really, really liking this book. And I'm ending with this book because I want to know if anybody can tell me another book that is like this book that I would like, because I try fantasy. I'm just not really, I have a hard time following world building. And so if you know of books that are similar to this, let me know in the comments below, because I would like to read more like this. This book is 400, and it's just over 400 pages. So it just slides into counting for Big Book Summer. So I'm not going to try and hold these up because that is too heavy. But these are just some big books that I want to read, some that I have read, and encourage you, if any of them sound interesting to read. Let me know in the comments below if you're participating in Big Book Summer and what you plan to read for it. I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you very soon. Bye.